Welcome to Did You Know number 26. This time I'm going to start off with my couple of facts here. First one is 1 Kings 22. 1 Kings 22, verse 20. 1 Kings 22:20. And the Lord said, "Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead?" And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit, and stood before the Lord, and said, "I will persuade him." And the Lord said unto him, "Wherewith?" And he said, "I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets." And he said, "Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning thee." Probably a lot of people don't know that there is an actual conversation in your Bible between the Lord and devils. And the devils say that they are going to put a lying spirit in the prophets, and God allows them to do so. So I wanted to mention that because you probably didn't know that. There aren't too many glimpses into the spirit realm in your Bible. And also, it shows that just because something is of the spirit realm doesn't mean it's something good. In churchianity today, you'll say, "Oh, I'm moving with the Spirit," speaking in tongues and being slain in the Spirit. Well, maybe you are, but that doesn't mean it's a good thing. What spirit is it? God allowed a lying spirit to be put in the mouth of the prophets. What kind of spirit is the person speaking in tongues and moving, jolting around? What kind of spirit is that? Okay, the next one is 2 Kings chapter 1. 2 Kings chapter 1, verse 10. And Elijah answered and said to the captain of 50, "If I be a man of God, then let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Again also he sent unto him another captain of 50 with his 50. And he answered and said unto him, O man of God, thus hath the king said, Come down quickly. And Elijah answered and said unto them, If I be a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And the fire of God came down from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Did you know that Elijah, a lot of people know Elijah called fire down from heaven and consumed the sacrifice on the altar. But did you know that Elijah also called down fire from heaven and consumed 100 people? 50 at one time, 50 at another. It's a type of the two witnesses in Revelation 11, what's going to happen in the first half of the tribulation period. But probably a lot of people haven't heard that story. Fire come down from heaven to kill 50 people 2 different times. All right, now Lana's got a couple of Did You Knows.
All right, we're almost out of we are out of Deuteronomy. Yay! We're into Joshua. Finally. Oh, gosh. Joshua. Everybody turn to Joshua. It's in that crispy section of your Bible you never read. Joshua 3.
Joshua fit the battle of Jericho.
Joshua 3, verses 13 through 17.
And it shall come to pass, as soon as the soles of the feet of the priests that bear the ark of the Lord of all the earth, shall rest in the waters of Jordan, that the waters of Jordan shall be cut off from the waters that come down from above, and they shall stand upon a heap. And it came to pass, when the people removed from their tents to pass over Jordan, and the priests bearing the ark of the covenant before the people, and as they that bear the ark were come unto Jordan, and the feet of the priests that bear the ark were dipped in the brim of the water, for Jordan overfloweth all his banks all the time of harvest, that the waters which came down from above stood and rose up upon a heap very far from the city Adam, that is beside Zertan, and those that came down toward the sea of the plain, even the salt sea, failed, and were cut off, and the people passed over right against Jericho. And the priests that bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord stood firm on dry ground in the midst of Jordan, and all the Israelites passed over on dry ground, until all the people were passed clean over Jordan.
I wrote Did you know that the Jordan River walled itself up like the Red Sea did when Israel passed through? When they were leaving Egypt or escaping Pharaoh and his men, and God dried, it was God, was it really Moses?
Yeah, God did it.
God did it. He, walled up the sea, and they walked through on dry land.
It wasn't Charlton Heston.
It wasn't Charlton Heston. But did you know that the same thing happened with the Jordan River? Most people don't think about this. You probably read it, didn't think much of it, you just kept on reading. But everybody, the Red Sea being walled up and the Israelites walking on dry land is probably the most famous one. So.
Well, it's because Charlton Heston didn't do this one.
Yeah, he should have made another movie.
Yeah.
But if you noticed in verse 16, also I have, it's towards the end of it, it says, even the salt sea. And I think the only salt sea that I know of over there, they call it the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's one and the same.
Probably.
So,
I would go along with that. I agree with that.
So, God called it the Salt Sea, not the Dead Sea. So, anyway. So, the next one, okay, we did Joshua. We're still in Joshua. Let me turn my page here. And, Joshua chapter 8. Joshua 8 verses 31 and 32.
Joshua 8, 31 and 32. As Moses, the servant of the Lord, commanded the children of Israel, as it is written in the book of the law of Moses, an altar of whole stones, over which no man hath lift up any iron, and they offered thereon burnt offerings unto the Lord, and sacrificed peace offerings. And he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses, which he wrote in the presence of the children of Israel.
I wrote down, I wonder if the laws are still on those stones today. And I was telling Eric, I said, if you ever gone to an old graveyard, you see people, have you ever been to Civil War graveyard or something, just any graveyard where the headstones are from the 1800s and back. A lot of them, you don't know who's laying there because, the weather and whatever else, the wording has been pretty much washed away, and the stone is actually crumbling and stuff, and you can't really read it. So I wonder, I asked Eric, I said, I wonder if those laws are still on those stones today.
And I'm guessing that they are, and I'm guessing that they were buried somewhere, but that archaeological find will come about after the rapture so that they will be displayed so that now Israel can see that this law still applies to them. They're still under that covenant. That's just my guess. Seems like something God would do, but I don't know. And also notice from verse 32, he wrote there upon the stones a copy of the law of Moses. A lot of people think of the Ten Commandments, and maybe that's all that's there, but the law of Moses is a lot bigger than that. Maybe there's more than just the Ten Commandments on there. And, it's a pretty big altar of stones. All right, that was your 2. So now we're going to go over the question. The question last time was, whose heart was perfect before the Lord all his days? Congratulations to Charles Martel and Tony Holder for getting the answer correct. It is 1 Kings 15. The answer is Asa, A-S-A. A lot of people think of David because he was a man after God's own heart. But according to 1 Kings 15, verse 14, it says, but the high places were not removed. Nevertheless, Asa's heart was perfect with the Lord all his days. So King Asa's heart, perfect before the Lord all his days. May have been most underrated king that you have in the Bible, because most people don't even know the guy existed. And here his heart was perfect before the Lord all his days, with the Lord all his days. All right, and that was that question. So now your question for this time. This is probably an easy one. So I expect a lot of people to answer this correctly. I'm even going to tell you that the answer is found in the book of 2 Kings. 2 Kings. Give me the chapter and verse and tell me who went to heaven by a whirlwind. Who went to heaven by a whirlwind, and give me the chapter and verse in 2 Kings that tells that. All right, that's it for this time. Thanks for watching Did You Know number 26.